Welcome back. Today on Dialed In DIY, we're making over 25 different kinds of maracas, rattles, shakers, just generalized noisemakers that you can have some fun with. We're making them all free with repurposed parts so that you can celebrate things like New Year's, backyard barbecues, perhaps a birthday party, or any other kind of celebration. Or perhaps you just want to cheer on your favorite sporting team during a big game. Well, you might also want to think about making one for a child to play with. We have some different ways you can do that safely, or maybe you just want to make them to join in for some music. No matter which kind we make, every single one's going to have three basic elements that you can manipulate to control the kind of sound you get. So, let's kick it off with these three basic ones you see in the picture here. The bottles you see here are perfect for holding in the hand to shake because even the avid party goer won't accidentally let one of these slip out easily. So all you have to do is find something solid to put inside. And in the first case, I'm using some rice. Gonna put about 2-3 tablespoons in there. Then I'm gonna use some plumber's tape to wrap around the threads because that keeps the cap on. So you can even let some kids play with these and it'll be harder for them to get it off. Not that they can't, you should still use good supervision. In the second one, it's the exact same bottle size and the exact same quantity, but I'm using lentils. They're a little bigger, a little harder, and you can see the difference in the sound. It's pretty cool already. In the third one, we're using the same size bottle, but we're adding some beans. These are yet bigger again, and it's going to make a different sound yet again. So you can easily see how adjusting the contents changes the sound you get. And we're going to experiment a little bit more with altering the different kinds of materials you can use for a body, as well as the size. I mentioned previously about wanting to make these safe enough for kids to play with, and there are specific guidelines that manufacturers have to follow, and I like to follow those as much as I can as well. Basically, the guidance for avoiding inhalation hazards for a child under the age of 3 is you don't use anything that is small enough to fit inside a tube that's 2 1/4 inches long by 1 1/4 inches wide. Now let's start experimenting a little bit more. We're going to actually make more than 25 additional versions out of various things that we find. I'm going to use primarily rice so that you can see the difference of the different kind of containers. This little gum container was perfect not just because of how easy it was to make, but because the ridges down the side give the rice more places to bounce, which means more noise to be made. Now let's move on to a bigger plastic container with a little bit thinner plastic involved. This is actually a children's snack container. And you can see, it's actually really great. Again, it's different kind of contour, which makes it easy to hold on to. But you're probably going to want to throw some tape around the lid to keep it in place. So now let's move on to a Gatorade bottle. Thicker plastic and a little bit more durable. Same material on the inside, but listen to how different it sounds. This next one changes the sound in 2 ways because it has a cardboard body and a metal bottom. This is actually going to make a really different, unique sound. You know, you can even get a repurposed container that's ready to use like a maraca. This particular long, thick bottle has a long neck on it as well, which means you have a handle you can hold on to shake it just like a maraca. Put 2 of these together, and it can be a lot of fun at a party. Since there's no wrong way to make one of these, you can use pretty much anything, even something with squared edges like this iPod case. As long as we're thinking really outside the box, why don't we get a little bit more unique with our contents as well? Let's switch out that rice for coffee beans. What do you think's going to happen? How about shooting for something that fits in the hand a little better? Grab one of these old prescription bottles, throw some of the rice in there, and shake it up. You'll notice the normal amount we've been using really has a muted sound, so we need to pour some of the rice back out. Now we have something that's different, which sounds unique, depending on which way you shake the container. But if you want to make a child-safe version of this, grab one that has a child-safe cap. I've even had 1-year-olds having a great time with these, and we've taped them up with some decorative duct tape, made some fun colors out of them, and had a great time. You know what? You can have kids play with these, but I still do recommend you use good supervision and common sense. How about trying a film canister? Not for kids, but for you. What sound do you think we'll get out of a thin plastic powder drink tube? Let's check it out. Well, the volume might not be party-worthy, but I've got some thoughts on how I might be able to use this for some fun pranks because of the size. I can make it sound like a rattlesnake rattle. Let's change up the sound a little bit further with this thicker metal container that had candy in it at one point. And you know what? I like this one, so let's try a bigger version of it. You can also make one like this with an Altoids tin. Now for something completely different yet again, how about a completely cardboard, round container? You know what? I've even tried PVC. This is half-inch size, but I do recommend if you're going to use rice, get a bigger piece of PVC, more like a 1-inch size or bigger. I even hit the list with a plastic jewelry box. Then I went a little retro with a Hi8 videotape box. But since I'm a firm believer you can make something out of just about anything you can get your hands on, I'm gonna prove it with a toilet paper tube. Grab one, stick one of these Dixie cups in one end, and tape it in place. Turn it over and add your rice, then add another Dixie cup and tape it in place. Guess what? This works great. I added some colored duct tape for decoration, which also had a second benefit of giving it a lot of extra durability. I was surprised at how well it worked. You can crush them down and still bend them back out, and they'll continue to make the same sound. And just because I could, I scaled up and made the same thing out of a paper towel tube. I gave the taped up version of these to a child to play with and was very impressed with how well and how long it held up. To play with the alteration of the sound, let's go back to our Pringles can and throw in the coffee beans. Alright, I decided to get a little silly here and make one of these out of a pen I cleaned out. And if you want to be honest and have some fun with the volume, you may want to throw something metal in there like some little steel shot or screws or maybe even little pebbles. I also wanted to make some shaker sticks that I could use like drumsticks, so I got milkshake straws. I heated one end and sealed it, much like I did in my videos where I made the reusable glow sticks, and then added my rice, sealed up the other end again, and had some fun with them. Perhaps you've seen the little musical shakers that are shaped like eggs that you can hold in your hand. I wanted to recreate that, but with something you could get your hands on easily, like one of these little plastic golf balls. I made a little slit in the seam, filled her up with rice, then put a piece of tape over the slit, and hey, it was really good to go. Find yourself on a vacation, you can make a bunch of these little ones out of the shampoo bottles you get in the hotel room. I mentioned switching the contents up to something metal, so let's take a shot at what that looks like. Okay, let's go ahead and repeat that with that other little metal tin too and see what that sounds like. As you can see, there's really no limit to what you can do to change up the sound with these things, not just with a different container, but the different contents as well, so have fun. Because as you can see from this box that I started with, I made over 30 different kinds of rattles or noisemakers, and had some fun. Guess what? You can also grab a stick, tape it to one of these, and you got a handle to use like a maraca too. Thank you for watching. Please press like, and then subscribe. There will be more Dialed In DIY to come.